No. Big series this weekend.
Yeah, it is. We don't have a good track record.
So,
Will you be the watcher in case you see something on the screen?
What?
Will you be the
I like-
watcher in
Oh,
case you see something on the
I'm
screen?
gonna get my
I
water.
grew up in
Okay.
Portland, so I was pretty close. I got down to a few games every week.
Seats are cheap compared to
So I
the Yankee Stadium.
I don't
Yeah.
figure out how to sign in.
It is 6:31 in the evening of Thursday, September 11th. This is the North Hero Development Review Board. We have a hybrid meeting. It's in person and also on Zoom. Here representing the board, Christine, you want to introduce yourself?
Christine Salonda.
Charlie Dakar.
Delcy Durham.
Diana Mann. And then our alternate member who we are going to ask to participate tonight is Chip Porter via Zoom. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? The only thing I'm going to say is that under business of the board, instead of regulation updates for planning, well, it says regulation updates for planning commission. Andy Alling, the chair of the planning commission, is here just to give us a report on the planning commission. So any public comments? Okay, we're going to start the first hearing then. The first hearing is application 2025-32 DRB subdivision review. Colleen Joyce, 259-263 Abnaki Road.
Can I just make a quick comment?
Yes,
That was my error on the new agenda. It's actually 68 DRB, because we closed hearing 32. And so I had to give her a new.
Okay.
So that's my error there.
okay, that's fine. 68 DRB. Thank you for letting us know.
Yep.
Colleen is here. Is there anybody else who is an interested party to this proceeding? Oh,
Next door neighbor, Kevin Fitzgerald.
Kevin Fitzgerald. Okay, so I will give the oath to both of you then. I hereby swear that the evidence I give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury.
I will.
Okay. Okay, Colleen, would you like to update us?
Yes, there's really not much of an update. I would like to postpone if possible. I heard from one engineer, yay, but the other one that has the drawings, I have not heard back from yet. But if I could postpone maybe for till next month,
Sure.
but I do have a question I would like to ask. I don't know who can answer this for me. But I had, the prior owner had septic plans drawn up. And I don't know if that can be carried over. I can show you what I just want to know if I have to get all new septic plans.
Were they approved?
I believe so.
You check
I
with,
could check,
you check with the state, if they're approved, then.
then that's all I,
Goes with the preference.
okay, this. No, someone's trying.
Oh.
Okay.
If they're not, I would contact you and give it to them.
Right, yes, okay, all right,
They've been paid once.
right,
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
Okay,
So
so
all
we,
set.
we just need a motion to postpone until,
So moved.
Second.
so all those in favor?
Recessing, right?
Yes, recess.
We have to do it to a date and time certain.
Yes, we're doing it to October,
Yeah.
Ninth.
October 9th at 6:30 PM.
And I'm sorry, who motioned?
Christine and then Charlie
Charlie
seconded.
second, thank you.
Is unanimous. Okay. Moving right along. The second application is Lucas Campbell here. Okay. Lucas, and then are there interested parties?
Yes. Yes.
And would everyone like to be sworn in then as an interested party?
Am I an interested party?
Yes, yes, you
Okay.
are.
Very good.
If to be an interested party means that you can, if you need to appeal it, you need to be an interested party, if anything.
Okay.
So this is application 2025-60 DRB. It's a conditional use review for Lucas Campbell at 219 Station Road. So Lucas and interested parties, I'm gonna swear you in here. I hereby swear that the evidence I give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury.
Yes.
Okay.
I
Are there
agree.
any board members that had any ex parte communication or conflicts of interest in this? Okay, so, all right then.
Excuse me, Lisa's up on the board waiting to come in.
Thank you.
You there, Lisa?
She's there.
Lisa?
She's muted.
Yes, just trying to unmute. I'm here.
Okay, so we're just starting the second hearing, the conditional use review for Lucas Campbell, okay?
Wow.
Colleen Joyce asked that we recess until October.
Okay,
So that hearing was recessed.
thank you.
Okay, so Lucas, would you like to, if you can speak loudly, you can do there, or you're welcome to come up here if you've got papers to show.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
And let us know what you're doing here.
So I bought the property from Rick Supernaut last October, I think we closed, October, November. And took it over with the boat storage business and Dominic renting the shop space that's on the property already. And it's always been commercial, but it was never zoned for anything other than indoor boat storage. So I'm looking for conditional use to essentially bring it up to what it's been used for the last many years. That is having commercial businesses run out of the property, and I figured since I'm coming here already, I would like to ask if I can also get zoned for outdoor boat storage. Just because there's demand for it and it sort of ties in nicely to the indoor storage already. And then we put one other thing on there, potential use as a firewood lot. As you're getting into the firewood business. So I need a spot with some open land to do that with, and there's a lot of open field right there on the property. So that is the general idea.
Where's the woodlot?
Just in the yard.
On that property.
On that property, yeah. It would just be on probably the side next to the town highway department. In the big grassy area there. On the east side of the property.
So when you're looking at this.
Yep. So that would be, yeah, I mean, we're not talking a huge, 200 cord an hour firewood processor. It's like a cord an hour. We've been getting.
Ask questions.
Not yet. We will definitely give you time. Everyone will have an opportunity.
Of course.
Thank you. You're not building anything?
Nope. No new infrastructure at this time. I'm not saying it never will happen, as this building is getting pretty tired and old, so at some point it's gonna need to get revamped, but at this juncture, for the foreseeable future, I'm not building anything.
So where would you put the boats, the outdoor storage?
So the plan was just in between the buildings here. we just slide them in, people get their boats shrink wrapped, we could store them there. At a lower rate than the indoor storage is. Potentially along the side here too. It sort of will play out what makes the most sense doing firewood or
So he's saying between the buildings here and then potentially along this side.
You mentioned fabrication in your application. What kind of fabrication are you talking about?
So just light duty, like we do docks and stuff. So sometimes we're like, vision is when Dom finally finishes his new shop in South Hero, we could potentially move into that space as our shop space versus where we are in Grand Isle. So we're occasionally doing welding and stuff on docks. By no means is it like a large scale fabrication facility.
When you say welding on docks, different types of welding because of the different materials?
Yeah. Aluminum, steel. Woodwork.
You mentioned businesses. What other businesses are there?
They're all owned by me, but I have my fingers in a lot of different activities. And I just 2 days ago had a meeting with my attorney, CPA and insurance agent. So like for liability reasons and such, we've broken or are in the process of breaking Green Mountain Marine Services into several different companies and divisions for liability. We do a site work, dirt work, and our marine insurance doesn't cover land-based excavation. We can play in the water as much as we want with our marine insurance, so they want us to have a separate company and books for that, so it's all my same umbrella. But, and then like the boat storage, our insurance agent wanted us to have that set up differently, because his argument was if one of the buildings burned down, we'd have 40, 50 different insurance claims on our hands. He's like, keep that out of the quagmire of the day-to-day business that actually operates and generally makes most of the money and everything else. So there's potential for a couple different businesses to be there on paper. In actuality, it wouldn't be like multiple different companies functioning there, if that makes any sense. I know it's
So-
confusing.
Do you have plans for what goes into which building? Because there's numerous buildings there.
Yeah, so buildings A and B right now, which are the two east most and second to eastmost.
Where do I see this A and B? I'm looking at things.
I don't know if they're labeled.
Which
Yeah.
ones would they be?
So A and B are these two
Okay,
Christine,
right next
A and
door.
B are over here. State is over here. So it'd be on the side of the state.
Yep,
So that's A and B right there.
so it's A and B would be,
A and B are currently indoor boat or indoor storage. Building C and C1, which are the two smaller ones, next ones over.
These here.
Yep, so C1 is the smaller of the two.
yeah,
That one is the heated shop space. And then C2, which is behind it, sort of kitty corner there, that's storage that Dominic just rents for me and know he has like his own personal cars and stuff in there and occasionally has stuff for the crane business and whatnot. I honestly don't go in there very often. And then building D, which is the last one, furthest one over this way. Currently is Rick Supernaut's personal storage space. Part of the sale of the terms was that he wanted to keep that for himself for 3 years. But the idea is that would also become indoor storage once that 3 years is up.
so the buildings on the far east side and the far west side are limited to storage in your
Yep.
plans.
Yep,
And it's the two buildings in between that would be shop or anything that
Yeah,
had,
yeah. Something more than indoor storage, conditional use. Provides.
Do you see new signage?
I was actually gonna ask you about that. Well, I had. Yes, I'd like to put a sign up on the buildings. And I'm not sure, I know Grand Isles zoning. Being on the DRB there, but I'm not sure what North Heroes is. Was wondering what is allowed as far as signage goes.
Yeah. Right.
I just hadn't gotten a
And
chance.
what
to
about
look at it.
traffic? Do you see increased traffic because of like the wood business?
No.
You're adding wood
No,
business?
we would be delivering it
So
ourselves.
you deliver it, nobody would
Yeah,
come in
no
and
one-
pick it up there?
Yeah,
Okay,
the traffic would remain the same. It's been forever. You know, in the spring, there's a little increase with people picking their boats up. In the fall, a little increase with people dropping their boats off, but other than that, it's just us coming and going.
and you have the driveway that's shown here. When you're saying that people dropping their boats off and whatever, you move the boats into the interior storage.
Yep,
Do you have parking spaces, I will call it that, defined spaces for like how many boats would be outside before you got them back inside?
I wouldn't say we have defined spaces like that. Generally, people tell us they're dropping the boat off and then we get it in that day or the next day. I don't think I've ever had more than like 3 or 4 boats out front at any given time.
And then the other thing I see is the space that you're talking along the east side. Over here,
that's next to the state.
that next to the
Right.
state,
Yep.
I see that's just over 24 feet to the property line.
Yep,
And there's setback requirements for property here, which would preclude using that for any kind of commercial activity.
even
Yeah.
just parking.
Yes,
Does it meet the setback requirement?
that's the setback requirement from the property line.
Is 25.
Yeah.
And because he doesn't have 25, it precludes you?
No, because it's 24.4 up to 28 at the back.
Yeah,
It precludes it being used commercially.
I didn't know that. I mean, I know about the 25, but I didn't
I
realize.
think these were built before there was zoning in North Hero.
So, right, I'm not saying that I'm just saying the setback, that area. You were saying you were thinking of using as wood and things like that. That particular area is a setback area.
Okay, so you can't do any activity, even if it's just parking things there.
That's correct. I concur with Delcy.
Okay,
In the setback area.
In the setback.
Okay, but in the building,
Oh, no, the building is fine.
got it. Okay.
So it would mean that
I thought-
coming up here where you wanted to do
Yeah.
wood, you couldn't stack wood.
unless we're 25
Within
feet off the
25 feet,
fence.
right.
Yeah. Okay, that's,
There are signage restrictions, especially with business signs, and you can work directly with the CA on that.
okay,
But it's also in our regulations.
Yeah,
You
I
can look
figured
up
it was in
town
there. I just-
regulation.
been busy, hadn't had a chance to look. In fact, you might know.
So,
Yeah, you can be in the office tomorrow.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Any plans to add lighting, outside lighting?
no. Really no expansion plans whatsoever. Other than if I can store boats outside, that'd be great. Otherwise, the usage would all stay how it is currently and has been.
So the main business remains still over in Grand Isle.
My business?
Yeah, the boat business over there.
Lot of factors in there. The thought was to move it here, although I'm now talking with another commercial space in Grand Isle.
Oh,
So it might all become boat storage here shortly and just offer heated storage. But that is still too far in the future to speak to at this
excuse
point.
me. Zoom drop Lisa. She needs to be admitted on.
Thank you.
Want to get back to fabrication. If I understand you, what you're saying is your fabrication is mostly repair work,
Yeah,
no plans for building docks or getting into.
I hate that business. If it were up to me, I wouldn't do any docks.
Diana, I have a question or two.
Yes, Chip, go ahead.
In the unheated boat barns will just be used to store boats, is that correct?
Yep.
And in the heated boat barn, you mentioned fabrication. Would that include fiberglass, painting, that sort of thing?
If it was, it would be on the very rare occasion and we'd be working on our own boat, not for hire. We don't do boat repair for anyone other than ourselves.
So the answer to the question is that the all the buildings will be used for storage except for the heated maintenance building, which I don't think was C1 or something like that.
Yeah, C1 is the only one that would have a non-storage use.
And if you were to want additional outside storage, I think you would not only need to meet the setbacks from the state, but also from the back of the lot, because I think that includes some wetlands. So if you want to have any exterior storage on a permanent basis, like over winter or longer, you would need to come up with an area that met those setbacks, as well as some other criteria for outdoor storage.
What would the other criteria be? Setbacks
Well,
are easy. I mean,
circulation for one, and how it would affect the character of the area, of the neighborhood, and what kind of activity that would be surrounding those outside stored boats. In other marinas that we've looked at, the operator, the marina operator, specifically wanted provisions for the owners to be able to come to the lot and work on the boats. And if that were to be something you would want, we'd need to know about that.
I specifically don't want the owners coming there. We're very specific that you come drop your boat off and then we put it in storage and you can't have it back until beginning of the season.
Well, that takes care of one of the four I mentioned, but
And then speaking to character of the area, I mean, the neighboring property is the state highway department.
well, there's
There.
at least two interested parties at this hearing that
True.
are not the state.
Yep. But that's two corners of the property are state highway department, so it's already sort of a commercial space. But that's not a for me to decide. That's the DRB's job to decide what the character of the area is. I just know that can be a vague term. That we have struggled with in Grand Isle repeatedly recently. As far as
Well,
the
if
setbacks
it-
go,
If it
that's,
comes up, I think I can give you some very specific references to it, but at this point, we're not there yet.
okay. And then setbacks are fine. I have no issue with that. There's still plenty of room. Even 25 feet off the fence line. To achieve what I'm looking for, and the wetlands need to get delineated. But the state wetland map does have some wetland back there. The surveyor I hired to do the survey prior to this said he's not a wetland delineator, and so he just overlaid the general state wetland map on there. But I'm in full agreement, there are wetlands in that back corner where the state funneled all of their water off their property. And I have no intention of disturbing them at all.
Well, and also, if you're gonna put them in the back, there's the issue of access. So at this point, if I'm remembering the property, there isn't any established access to the rear of the property except through the barns.
Yeah, or down the sides. I mean, there's no roads, it's all just grass area, but if all you're doing is backing a boat trailer in there in the fall, letting it sit all winter, and then pulling it back out in the spring, I think that's sufficient. We would have to increase our impervious surface area to make it an
Well-
actual parking lot.
The rear of the area is also, in
In the 25
the
foot setback,
25
yeah.
foot too, so it would only be looking at potential use between the buildings essentially, or.
And in the side
approved
yard,
area, yes, in the side yard, within the road setback.
Yeah.
As well,
yep. Which is about an acre worth of space,
right,
maybe a little less, but. It's room for us to certainly fit
a few
a
boats.
few boats. I'm not saying I'm gonna have 300 boats sitting there packed into every corner, but
Okay,
if we can,
that would be too high.
that would be too high. I don't wanna deal with that.
Okay, if it's okay with the board, I'm gonna open it up for right now to interested parties, so. Yes, sir, can you just state your name for the record and
Mike Trineski, adjoining property owner west. Or the
Across the
house across the road,
Okay.
across Station Road. I have I have a number of questions. The rototilled area that just happened yesterday, what's that about?
Planting wildflowers.
Oh.
We had poison parsnip coming up, so I figured fill that under, try to get, so we seeded it with wildflower mix.
Okay.
I hope,
State your name.
yeah,
Kathy,
sorry, anybody that
sorry,
speaks, we're just gonna ask you to.
right across the road, 52 Station Road. Bear with me, I'm just gonna give you a brief history. I bought the property at 252 Station Road in 1986, with full knowledge that there was a state garage and what the activities were there. And that there were boat storage sheds across the street and what activities were there. They were owned by Paul Clark at the time. So, Mike and I built a house in 1993, and we've lived there with quiet enjoyment of our property for all the years until the last couple, 3 years. And I've known Dominic Laporte since he was a little boy, and I bought wrapping paper from him in the school. So, excuse me, I have allergies. Anyhow, we noticed that Don had a crane sitting on the property, and then maybe there was a truck or there was something going on. And I thought, well, isn't that nice? Rick is letting him store some things on his property. You know, that's very nice. And then after quite some time passed and there was more activity, And Dawn never mentioned, nobody ever came to us and said, hey, what's the story? I went over to give Dawn some blueberries because he had plowed our driveway. And there was a fully heated, insulated maintenance shop in there, and he was doing maintenance. In the time since, we've seen as many as 8 or 9 huge vehicles over there. One thing that probably they didn't notice, but I pointed out, was that when they drive around and face our property, the lights of trucks and big equipment go right in our living room window. It doesn't look like it should, but it does. And sound also rises. There was a semi there idling all night long one time, and their arrival at 2:30 a.m. woke us up. There's been so much traffic that bigger equipment, if you're bringing big equipment here of any kind, they've had to back in and out off the road and hold up traffic. And a couple of times they've gone into the town right away and made big ruts. So anyhow, we didn't say anything right until we really realized what was, what this just, and there was a little sign over there and it said, Karina Crane. Oh, then we found out that, Don was going to build something in South Carolina. And I happened to see Don this past February when I was taking a walk. And he said, are you having any problems? And I said, not anymore. You're moving, right? He said, yeah, we're moving. This was this past February. And he said, I'll be in the spring, but the property's been bought by Green Mountain Marine Services, and they're gonna move here. Oh, so the next day, I wrote a long email to them, yeah, and I don't think you got it right away, because I didn't hear from you for a long time, and Corinne told us that, there was a transition period for emails. So I wrote the next day, and I told Dawn, I said, you're running a business here, you have stuff all over the place, this is for boat storage, that's it. That's all that, and you refer to the business that's been going on there. Well, it was not a business that applied to the town to run, okay? And Rick Serpino never mentioned, Mike used to be next door neighbors with Rick Serpino. So, we had to find out, we found out that Don was buying property through the Islander when we look at these applications for review. So what I'm trying to say is that it's been a huge change for us, not pleasant, noisy, lights, and not in keeping with what the neighborhood had been for the over 30 years that Mike and I have lived on the property. We built the house 32 years ago, and I've lived up on the road and in there since 38 years. So you have some questions. And Mike has a couple questions. So you've already clarified outdoor storage of what? And maintenance, repairs, and fabrication. Indoors only, maintenance and fabrication. Doors closed.
As best we can.
Doors closed. No noise, no bright lights. We've listened to hours on end of a commercial pressure washer cleaning equipment. I know boats often like to be pressure washed. We have a boat ourselves before they go into storage. Hours and hours on end of pressure washing, 7 days a week. So that's the other one. You said.
Do you want him to answer?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'll say the pressure washing is not us. I'm not pressure washing 70, 80 boats that come into there. That's Dom washing his trucks.
Right. So I'm talking about noise and lights. Okay, big
Yep.
noise and lights. And if Mike had he just retired, and probably most of you know. He has
So,
So he just did, he did,
had a body shop right in Grand Isle since the early 80s. And he, he did fabrication and body work in there. It was sometimes noisy and so on. So anyhow, normal business hours. We would like to see normal business hours for this business written in stone. It will now something say what they are, so that there's no midnight emergency work or Sunday, early Sunday morning work has to be done because there's a repair or whatever. We would like them, the hours to be documented in the.
Is that what your plan is for normal business hours?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say that there's never days when you don't need to start early or come in, but in general, we work 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday from 7 a.m. to 5, and then we come back to the shop. You know, takes more time getting things unpacked, but
And the shop would be across the road from us,
that's the intended goal eventually.
okay?
But I also don't want to pigeonhole myself into that because this 4 day a week thing is what we just started about a month ago. And I don't want to commit to that and then realize that it doesn't work for us and not be able to work on Fridays.
So you would be somewhere else, and then show up next to us 4:35 to unload, to unpack, to.
Yeah, that's
Is that what you said?
generally how we do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually everyone meets at 7. We then very rarely are we actually working at our shop facility unless we're fixing our own stuff that's broken, which happens quite a bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
But we don't bring in other people's boats to do work on
Yeah.
them. Like I said, we occasionally do work on docks. Trying to get out of that business.
Your website says that you fabricate steps and docks, so that's,
We sell Great Northern Docks is how I got out of.
and you customize them for applications.
Every now and then we'll make a little bracket if we have to, but really not. I'm not trying to compete with dock doctors. I'm not trying to get into dock building.
So our concern is then, as Catherine mentioned, the noise
Yep.
and the lighting, the noise in what we're talking about now. I know fabrication is cutting, welding, grinding, hammering,
Yep,
all of that. So, in the summer, the door would open, the sound would come out, or you'd be out in the yard. One Sunday in the spring, an electric arc welder, which ran high speed continuously, was outside of the heated shop. Somebody was inside welding. I asked Dom about it sometime later, it wasn't him. I assumed it,
no,
I assumed it was.
that was Mitchell. Who's also the one who ran over your whole yard. That also is the reason Dom's shop is not done.
Sorry, well,
Mitchell Richardson?
It was in the radio.
No, he,
we'll have to explain that to us.
so not to get too
But
involved.
let's, that, I don't think that's,
Yeah,
that's pertinent to.
yeah, there's some politicking in town, but that was Mitchell who I was ready to kick off the property as well.
Okay, let's just stick to the
Yeah, sorry.
specifics of the.
Okay.
The last one I have is firewood processing.
Yeah,
So you're gonna be getting logs in?
So it all, I'm not sure how this one's gonna go. I bought a firewood processor because we got contracted to take down ash trees for the state parks on the islands, Burton Island, Night Island, Woods Island. I'm like, well, it's a skid steer mounted firewood processor. It's not a huge giant,
And what does that do?
cuts up firewood
It
and splits it and,
it bucks it and splits it.
yep.
Okay.
All in one. It's powered, just running off of any skid steer.
And so that'll be pretty noisy.
it'll be high RPM.
No, it runs at idle. It's kind of cool, yeah.
Really,
Yeah. I mean, it is a machine running. I'm not saying this is gonna be a 7 day, 5 days a week, anything like that. It's sort of a filler activity is how I envisioned it. We get jobs where we have to take down trees. Up until now, it's been like burn them or put them in a dumpster. I was like, well, if we have firewood processor, we can do something useful with it. So that's the vision with that one. I'm not,
so you're gonna have logs in a pile. Not necessarily a neat pile, just a lump of logs that eventually will be processed over time.
yeah,
And the logs will come they'll be processed, the pieces will go on your vehicle to be delivered, right?
Yep.
Loaded with a skid steer or a
Yeah,
backhoe
yeah,
and then leave to,
to be delivered,
So-
yeah.
right. Okay, so the winter time, it's gets dark at 4:30, right?
Yep.
So you're gonna have activity after dark in the winter probably, right?
Probably, yeah.
And the lighting, so you mentioned that you're not gonna have, so there's a spotlight on the heated maintenance garage. And that's all you're gonna have? That's
Yeah,
it?
I mean, I haven't planned on putting anything more in there. There's no other building that has power, so it's kind of hard to put lights anywhere else.
So that's a major concern of ours, the noise. Those are essentially the only concerns of ours, sort of. The noise and the lights. The lights come in, because the trees, so the station road. Our property, a line of trees, and the pond, then our house, straight line to the house. The trees lose their leaves,
They're pretty raggedy trees.
yeah, they're not great. And so we see light, so Dom with his cranes would come in high off the ground. The backup alarms would go. They'd have crane practice, they'd have pressure washing, all this stuff, not concerning you, but still. It built up over time, all right? He had one crane and then over time,
I think just to move on, because there are other
Yes.
people I want to make sure get a chance to
Okay.
speak. So I think pretty much we have
Yeah,
your
yeah,
concerns.
yeah.
And I'm not saying you can't ask more later,
Sure.
but can we move on to,
Sure.
okay,
I'm
thank,
happy to talk to you about my operation outside of this. Yeah.
and our concerns.
Questions?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and how they can fit
Sure.
together.
sure.
okay, so Lisa Fearing is a member of the board who was online and now is here in person, and she has a couple of questions. So
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I just, wanted to go back to the application itself. And I understand the property owner is, Green Mountain is actually.
Green Mountain Marine Services is
Yeah, so
the,
that should actually be the property owner of this application,
I am the owner of the business, so,
right? But you have an authorization to act as representative of Green Mountain.
gotcha. Okay, so you want me to resubmit with a different name?
Yeah, I would just like to have the record.
Okay.
But I'm wondering, since we're talking about Green Mountain, Marine Services, have you, when you talk about what we do, have you been in operation in other locations before?
Yeah, we're 11 years in business now.
Okay,
Primarily operate, I mean, we've had shop in downtown Essex, we have had a shop in Richmond. We're in Grand Isle right now at my personal house because Essex got torn down suddenly for the new circ around Five Corners. And yeah, I was looking for a new home.
okay, because I, you had this long history of this is what we do as in our business.
Yep,
Um,
it's ever growing and changing, but
yeah.
Yeah.
The conditional use application is actually for a change to a previous conditional use. That's on the property. Can you tell us about that conditional use?
my
Decision?
understanding, talking to zoning, was that the property is zoned commercial, but only for indoor storage.
Okay, have you seen the decision?
No,
Are you curious about it?
kind of now that you poke my memory or poke it that way.
Well, what, the best I could tell, I mean, if you don't have.
It was not in any of the documents I got.
Okay, if you go back through
Could I add
Right.
something to this specific point, please?
Yes. please.
There is no. There is no zoning permit for this. That. The use predates zoning. It was owned by Tuttle Marine. It was sold to Paul Clark. It had some other owners and, but it always was just boat storage. And there is no, as far as I can tell, there it's just a grandfathered use. So the question then, so maybe I'll go a little further than my just question, but it seems to me that there are two possible issues here, one of which is a minor modification of the conditional use or an amendment to the conditional use being proposed to use the barn, the heated barn for maintenance, or is there a conditional use permit being requested for something more than what is inside the buildings? If it's the latter, which includes outside storage and logging operations and that sort of thing, we need to go back to the conditional use criteria and start with 6.1A, B, and C. And maybe that would be better done with the zoning administrator. So that's my question, and the answer is there is no, as far as I can tell, there is no previous permit other than pre-existing use.
Chip, I actually looked through the records a little bit. This is Lisa Faring. And I saw that there was a Board of Adjustment meeting. I think you might have been present at that. And where the conditional use for this property was considered. And as a part of that meeting, it was granted. But that application was for a facility that will not have water or electricity. And that was the last record I could find. Or most recent. Yeah.
So I need to also change the conditional use to apply for the electricity that's there.
I cannot say definitively what they need to do there. I'm just trying to sort out the situation right now, and I think collectively we'll all figure out how to best move forward.
Maybe we can add that to the application. I wasn't aware that it wasn't zoned for electrical. It was there when I got it, but
Are you done? Can we move
I
on
am
to?
done.
Oh, okay, thanks, Lisa. Okay, another interested party. Anybody have questions?
Yes,
Comments?
I do.
Oh,
I have,
just 1 second, Marcia, sorry,
Marcia can go.
okay, they said, go ahead, Marcia, sorry.
okay, as I said earlier, I represent the trustee of a neighboring property. It's right across the street. The driveway to the property I'm speaking about is on Station Road. And I guess I'm gonna say I believe strongly that storing outside is just not a good idea. I believe it will be unsightly no matter what it is. I understand there's a giant crane there now. And I believe that storing any kind of items, large, small, does impact the character of the neighborhood, and it diminishes the quality of life of those around the property who are enjoying the open space, lack of noise, lack of trucks, logging. And I just want to say that I have no problem with storage inside. I just cannot agree with the granting of outside storage.
Okay, any other comments or? Is that it, Marcia, for now?
That's it. That's it for now.
Clear on what property she's representing in the area?
Okay,
it's the farm fields across the road.
What is it?
so
The
in,
farm field across.
so, 1 second, is that the property here?
Yeah, so this is all farm.
The Heights property.
The Heist property.
It's our property.
There's not a residence on that property.
Exactly is the processing of the wood that you proposed to do?
That's what Mike and I were just talking about. We generate wood as part of our marine and excavation business. And up to this point, it's either been like throw it in a dumpster or have a big burn pile and get rid of it. So I recently purchased a small firewood processor that goes on the front of a skid steer loader.
Firewood processor?
Yep. So it takes log length, picks it up, cuts it, and splits it into cordwood as we think of.
that outdoors?
Yeah,
Was it a noisy operation?
I mean, it generates noise. I wouldn't say it's a loud operation in the scheme of some, it's not like running a jackhammer, and it's a small processor that doesn't have a giant motor like some of the big ones you have seen.
Will you want to live next door to one of these things?
I already do.
Well, not you.
And when we lived in Moncton, there was a guy across the road from us that also did firewood.
But you moved from there.
It did, because it was a rented apartment and I bought property.
Can I add to this?
I'm sorry, sir, can you state your name?
Will Ice.
Thank you.
So the wood will only be processed.
So I'm sorry, but every time you speak, just say your name, only because this is recorded, so anybody that's
Okay.
listening in, we want.
So when the logs come in irregular shapes, curves, this machine will do it all. There will be no chainsawing. Is that?
Well,
what-
it has its own built-in chainsaw.
Right, but
There's
no
occasionally,
manual chainsaw.
the
no
goal,
man-
the goal, if you're doing it right, is you don't.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say there isn't, but if you clean the trees appropriately before you bring them, then there
Okay.
isn't any.
Okay, but a man operated chainsaw is a high RPM chainsaw. not
Yes,
Like you say,
that is louder than the
and
processor.
most anything else
Yeah,
that exists,
yep.
okay.
I had another question about the outside of Will Ice, live across the street. What type of machinery, what type of apparatus would you be moving outside from the inside? So, what?
I'm not sure I understand. I mean, the indoor storage facility?
No, I thought there was others.
I thought you were asking for outdoor storage.
Equipment for.
Yeah, the outdoor storage would be, some for the shop space, just like our equipment, but what I was really gearing at was the storage of boats for this winter season. But as part of running a shop or having a maintenance shop for your equipment, I guess I assumed that my own equipment being out front would fall under the guise of that being acceptable.
How many employees would you have?
Counting our bridge staff, so we run the drawbridge, we had 16 employees this year. We're down to, again, with the bridge staff, we're all done in October, down to 8 right now. 2 of those are office.
That's far more than.
It's there now.
I don't have any there now.
No, is it?
Dominic has anywhere from 6 to 9 employees. And all of his are there every day. I have an office in South Hero where 2 of my employees sit. 2 of the employees sit in the drawbridge tender station there. That's the only places they go.
Right.
I have a question.
Yeah.
In terms of the boat storage, are all of the boats on trailers
Yeah.
and put into place, or any of them have to be put onto stands or?
No. All trailerable.
Mike Trineski again, how many boats do you intend to put there? You fill the space or what?
Depends on what demand is. I mean, if I can fill that, ideally it would be the yard space on the east side. And between the buildings, I'm guessing you could probably fit another. If you filled every square inch, about 60 or so boats there for the winter.
Remember the setbacks.
Yeah,
You're-
no,
you're Pretty.
I'm aware of that.
So potentially it could be 60 boats in a concentrated area, one right next to one another.
Yeah.
A white cover,
Yeah,
shrink wrap.
yeah,
Okay.
Did I hear 60?
potentially. That's my guesstimate on how many I could fit in that yard. If we pack them in tight.
Are there any other comments, questions from interested parties?
I just,
Any,
I'm just gonna say, I'm
Marcia.
just, I'm not here to inhibit the growth of business, but storing those types of items outside is, I have to vote against it.
okay, are there any other questions currently from the board?
The property you're talking about on the east side,
Diana, I have a question.
1 second, Chip, Charlie's got a question here.
that's again, what are the boundaries of that? What would I see as the boundaries of that?
So it'd be 25 feet off the fence line from the state highway property.
Yeah.
And then up to the road driveway area that you can see in that photo. And then obviously off of Station Road, the 50-foot setback from the center line.
Thank you.
I can ask you again, the building that is east. Is not 25 feet, it's closer to the fence, isn't it? The last building east is closer to that.
At the closest point, it's 24.5 feet or something,
So
for the
you-
overhang.
You couldn't do anything in that
I
lane.
can't do anything down that side
Okay.
between the fence line and building A. Nothing can go there.
May I ask a question?
Yes, Marcia.
I mean, would you consider building a high fence in the outside area? Where, if you want to store boats, they will not be in view? Because they would be behind a 10-foot fence? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, I'm not gonna say I wouldn't consider that. I'm not a huge fan of fences personally, but if that's what makes the neighborhood happier, we would consider doing something like that.
Maybe cedars would grow higher and prettier.
I would be far more game to plant cedar trees than put up a big fence.
Those are allowed in our screening. If we had
Diana?
screening requirements, yes.
But they won't be instantaneous.
Yes, Chip.
I would like to recommend, or I'll move if you wish, that if we're going to talk about anything, any activity outside the building that are currently there, that the application must address 6.1C in full. It's driving me crazy to listen to what if and what about, and we have a procedure here for that we need to follow. And this would then involve a site plan that we could look at. It would involve where things are going to be, if they're going to be outside the building. I can't see how we can possibly continue to talk about things that have absolutely no context with the bylaw 6.1C.
Yeah, I agree, Chip, and I'm not seeing it, and I didn't catch this sooner, which is on me, I agree. I had a surveyor come and lay everything out. For the whole site plan. I don't know why Ashley did not include it.
You wanna see that?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Um,
I was gonna bring that up, but,
What is that you're,
Adequate circulation, parking, loading facilities.
Yes.
oh, he's got it. You're,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Right.
sure.
Could I make a motion that we recess the hearing until next hearing? And ask that the further documents be brought forward?
Is there a second to that motion? Any discussion?
Second,
We've got a second. Chip, any discussion? All in favor?
I,
Opposed?
Thank you,
Okay.
Chip.
So, so you can work
Diana?
with, yes, Chip,
specifically, addressing 6.1C.
okay. If you can work with, Danielle on making sure that you have everything.
Yeah, my
that we need
apologies.
for October 9th and be prepared to answer some of the concerns.
Yep.
You know, be a little more specific on some of the concerns that were brought up tonight. That
Yep.
would be great too.
Yeah, I paid almost $4,000 to have it surveyed and the site plan done, so
That'll be helpful.
really our bad
Okay.
not having it part of this.
Okay.
My
So we're
apologies.
Recessed until October 9th,
Yes,
6:30 PM.
yes.
Okay,
I'll be in the office till noon tomorrow if you want to give me a call. I don't know if this is.
I can't, yeah,
Or
I
next
gotta
week.
work in New York.
We
Next
have
week
time.
is probably
We have
better.
time.
Yeah.
Warren, if it comes in time, if that's done in time. Before the meeting and all.
To share.
To share it with us, we might decide.
okay, so if
I
If
can,
you can get the information to Danielle earlier, then it may be something.
it's sitting on my computer. I could
Okay.
email it tomorrow.
Okay, all right, perfect. Thank you,
Yep.
Lucas.
Thanks, Lucas. I'm gonna admit Carol and just ask her to, sign her the permit sign.
Okay,
I know Dom's.
okay,
Say that.
we're gonna ask. Yes,
Hi, Carol, can you just state your name and why you're here?
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, thank you.
I think we done.
Carol, I see you signed on. Can you, just unmute and state your name and why you're here?
Thank you, Moshe.
She can't hear me. What? I know why she's here.
Okay,
She's the owner for the next one. Oh. 7:36.
it's 7:36 and we are going to open the next hearing, which is application 2025-67 DRB variance review. Owner is Carol Clark, applicants Sarah McMillan and Casey Chicoine. Did I pronounce that correctly? Chicoine, sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll try to get that right. Chicoine. 1 Abnaki Road. So the applicants are here. And the owner is did she get?
That's Carol.
Okay.
She hasn't.
And then
responded,
are
but she-
there interested parties who would like to sign in? Okay, so I will give, get this, give the oath to all of you, please. Carol, this is for you also, Carol. Who's that talking?
It's coming from her. She's unmuted.
Carol? Ask her to mute.
You're gonna have to hear her say.
Carol, we're gonna give you the oath now, okay?
Montgomery City was up at the,
And the people in the background, and Carol, can you please quiet down?
Next thing you know, the light went out and they were gone.
Oh, she may not be able to testify. Okay. The rest of you, I hereby swear that the evidence I give in the course under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury.
Before you go over the Tallapoosa River.
You want me to? You can.
Yes, why don't you come on over?
Then what happened?
Yeah,
I can mute her, yeah.
Then they had a pole, yeah, a pole go out. Transformer.
Oh, whoops, I didn't mean to mute Chip.
Yeah.
Sorta.
So,
Do you wanna grab your laptop?
the fire department yesterday in Elmore County was in
we're on technical issues.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, no, totally fine.
I muted Chip somehow.
I'm impressed. Our-
Chip, I muted you. Can you try to unmute yourself?
It's frozen.
Oh,
Did I do? Sorry.
Well, while we're trying to unmute Chip, I'm gonna have you go ahead and give us information on what this application is all about.
Okay.
Wait, before I do that, are there any, I'm sorry, we forget this, any conflicts of interest, ex parte communications? No.
All right, Chip, now can you try to unmute yourself?
Okay, go ahead.
Yes,
Got it, okay.
Okay, so we're under contract for land at one Abnaki. It's not the real address, but it's just a placeholder. And the last 2 months, we've been getting it delineated, dealing with civil engineers, and just to get this property sorted. It's a the back 2/3 is a wetland, so. Basically, we found a spot that our small house can go. It's not wetlands, it's outside the buffer zone. But because of the 75-foot right-of-way setback, it's just, we wish we could be a little further from the wetland.
exactly.
Um,
Our thought is just in terms of with all of the climate change that's been happening over the last few years, we should have a good amount of distance from the house not being in any of the setback currently. But our thought is that as we want to live here for years to come, ideally, we figure if we could give as much room to that wetland as possible, then as the years progress, as, natural disasters continue to occur, potentially, it would ensure us being safer, the wetlands safer, everything, ideally
It gives-
protecting the wetland.
It just gives the house and the wetland more breathing room.
I would like to,
So we can.
But technically you could, just for clarification, you could, there's enough room for you to build
So, and that's. what-
within all the setbacks.
And that's a great question. That's what we're reviewing right now with our septic designer. Because it's wet with the high water table, we're having to go with a pre-treatment system for black and gray water, which shrinks the footprint of the septic, but he hasn't designed it yet. He's working on it this week and next week.
exactly, we're just kind of.
Which will give us that'll give us the footprint of the septic, and hopefully we can squeeze our, 32 by 32 house in there.
Our main thought was
But-
just in terms of
But
requesting,
but in that case,
yeah,
you would not need setbacks. Is that correct?
ideally, yes.
Yeah, correct.
Exactly. The
correct.
more we're doing this as a, in case preventatively, if we could have as much room as possible in this tiny little footprint, it would then allow for that space, because you have to have the septic, a certain distance from the building site and so forth. So it would just allow more space for everything. And so as well as
Mainly
also.
the wet.
Yeah, and as well as then adding further space between where we plan to build and the wetlands. So as it changes over the years to come, hopefully would then ensure the safety of the wetland also. Because I would
Yeah.
like to state that that is honestly what we love about this spot, is we both have loved the fact that it's got the wetland. We love the idea of having this wetland and being able to sort of preserve that. And, same thing also, our idea is
to remove as little tree as possible. We want to just essentially just whatever space we need for our house is really what we're sort of looking for.
Yeah.
And again, we're not looking to change the wetland, we're looking to protect the wetland ideally. And so yeah, that's it in a nutshell, but happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the board?
Well, I do have a question.
Yes, Chip?
Seems to me that while I appreciate the previous testimony as something we might want to, as something we could have once the whole process is done. Right now, the question is, can the board, given the regulations of zoning regulations, create a subdivision of the lot? So it's my opinion that this lot has never been subdivided. I think that's actually true. So the question then becomes, okay, if
We're on,
the,
Chip? I think,
just let me finish.
yeah,
If,
but I want making sure you're on the right hearing.
this is Carol Clark.
No, yes,
Yeah, Carol Clark's the current owner of the land,
okay,
and we're the
Right.
applicant.
okay,
So
go ahead, sorry.
we need to see if Carol can subdivide, and then if that's possible, then we can consider other factors such as the testimony we just heard. But first we have to go back to reviewing this as a minor subdivision. And that's the first thing that has to happen, not. That's what we have to do first.
Right. It's a 5-acre undeveloped wooded lot.
I think there's
The wetland is 4.5 acres, so are you suggesting that the wetlands be separated from the 0.5 acre non-wetland?
I'm wondering, because
Well, no, I'm asking Chip. Chip, what would be subdivided? The wetlands from the non-wetland northwest corner?
I think we're dealing with an 11-acre lot, period.
No.
No, we're on a different hearing.
No, he knows it's the same.
He said Clark.
It is.
He knows it's the Clark hearing.
It's a variance hearing.
Okay.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
The other hearing that's happening is the lot next door, so I'm just wondering if there's I don't know, cross.
Also
Mix up.
Abenaki.
Exactly, it's on Abenaki, it's literally next door, that's the subdivision and ours was the variance. So I'm just wondering if there was like a crossing of.
We're not sure, Chip, where you're coming up with the subdivision here.
But I appreciate it.
Two birds, one stone.
Well, I don't know. There are only three things in the packet, and we've dealt with 2 of them.
Yeah, but there's no, the lot is,
5 acres.
it's 5 acres and it is what it is. It's not, there's no 11-acre lot.
I don't think there is a 5-acre lot because in a previous hearing, we talked about this. And it has never been subdivided.
This is a different, that's a different hearing.
This is 67
Really?
DRB. 67 DRB.
All right, point me in the right direction here then.
So we're on 2025-67 DRB.
Yeah,
I have while we're sorting this out, do we have an original of this, overview with the setbacks? The aerial photograph?
Yeah.
My packet is kind of hard to read.
Yeah, so that was an image
11
provided
to
by the
26.
wetlands ecologist for the state of Vermont,
Like that.
Elijah.
forgot to mention, we had it delineated, so that was from after he verified the delineation, that was the map that Elijah sent us, who's the wetlands ecologist of the state.
Yeah, we felt it important to show setbacks and the wetland and how they impact.
26-1.
Well, I'm not seeing the wetlands on what I'm looking at.
I actually am a big fan.
The plot plan setbacks.
Yeah, that.
Okay, so, we do have a map here. Can you bring it up?
My property, but it's that other property is.
We appreciate it.
Excellent. We're glad you're here.
Convenient, we're at the same.
So this is
Can you, for the, just for the audio, state your name?
Colleen Joyce,
Who is the neighbor?
who's a neighbor, who wants to subdivide eventually. But this is what it is, because with the property,
Yes.
here's that, and here is, oh, he's thinking 0.8 acre. Is that what the 8's coming from? No? But see, this is, here's the property line
That's the-
right there, it's a
Exactly.
5, and then there's the 12, and no, I'll make my comment later, but here's a map.
So so give us,
Okay.
take this, or you can do this, Casey, take this and show us where we are.
Okay.
That's yours right there.
So
Over there?
approximately.
No,
Hey,
that's,
Lisa,
that's
do
not
you
mine.
wanna?
that's Louis Francis.
I'm more interested in the dimensions.
Yeah, but we're looking at this and comparing it to that.
Oh, yes, okay. So here's Abnaki.
Yeah,
So the house septic is, it's
it's
gonna
this
be,
it's this right here that we're talking about.
this is the 5 acre
Yeah.
plot of land.
Yeah.
And the
Okay.
house is gonna be
Right,
right in here.
because this is wetlands, right there, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
90% of it is wetland.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
which is why we're trying to push this way 25 feet closer to Abnaki to just,
Exactly, just to give as much space and.
Yeah.
I'm Judy Hazen. I own a 12
12-foot strip.
12-foot strip. I don't see it here. Am I not reading it right?
It's not really showing up.
It's not showing to a landlocked square. My father-in-law.
Exactly.
It shows it, it's showing it here
Yes.
on this
So-
map.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Goes
that
along
was
here.
run over
You
by.
can just barely see where that yellow.
That was unfortunate.
And it's 12 feet. all the way
Judy,
to here. Okay,
it's on this map.
Right,
Judy
it
wants
is
to
on
see
that
it.
map.
Yeah, you can
map.
see it on this one.
Right,
But that's not
no,
part of this, the part
no,
of this
right,
packet.
this isn't, yeah.
It's just helpful.
This gives
Show it
right
out.
here the amount of wetland.
And
versus,
Yeah,
and
it's-
actually,
yeah.
that,
So that's your
Yeah,
property. So
that
it shows it
actually
right here.
shows it even better,
Yeah.
the wetland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Again, Judy Hazen, when I spoke with the state wastewater representative for the area, we had a very lengthy conversation about this because we are concerned. Normally you couldn't get on most of this property,
Yeah.
okay? I walked it today. And it's all dry. It's never, I don't remember in the 50
everything's dry
years
now.
that it's not being dry like that. So, but what she had stated to me, because she was looking at it, she was looking at all the paperwork, the real estate posting, everything. And she had said that from what she was looking at, 10% of the property would be able to be built on.
Well, and that's
Have you,
exactly why.
and one of the questions with that is, she did not at that time, which was about 10 days ago, had not seen any soil sample, quote, come through her door. And she was gonna wait, she was gonna watch for it. Because she had told me, which was, informational to me, that, whether it's wet now or not,
Mhm.
when the soil sample comes in, she can tell if
Exactly.
it is
Yep.
actually wetland.
So, no, that's been our main concern with this plot. That's why we've had it delineated and soil sampled like 3 times at this point. by
Exactly,
a
that's the whole point of
civil
delineation.
engineer.
But wastewater hasn't seen any soil sample. They have not seen any.
I don't.
We haven't applied for a wastewater permit yet. If that's-
Exactly,
if that's
we don't
what
have the
you're referring
design
to.
done yet.
Cause she had said that she
Exactly.
would like to have a on-site visit.
Yes,
Which
well, and
is-
that
which
was
is so
we're
rare.
more than happy to
the
do.
septic designer who did
Right.
an on-site visit.
Right.
Chances are, once he actually submits the design, that's when she'll see all of that. We have to do this all step by step because of the fact that there was no information on the land, period, when we started. So we had to do the wetland delineation, which then dictated
Right.
then where we could actually
It's been
build.
months of trying to figure this. thing
Exactly.
out.
So the wetland delineation is exactly to prove where the wetland is and where exactly the buffer zone is. When they did the delineation with our first designer, he ended up showing that we actually would have about a half an acre of usable space. Once it's verified with Elijah, who's the wetlands ecologist of the state, he actually shrunk it down to a 0.3 because of the fact that he estimates that that wetland will migrate.
Oh, yeah.
Through the years,
Yes.
exactly.
Sometimes
So
to
that's-
the right, just right up to the road.
well, and that's
at times.
exactly why we are looking to do this variance, is just to try and make as much space as possible. However, we did look at the flooding to date, and it does line up exactly with the wetland. So it doesn't actually flood to the road according to the historical evidence. But I
Yeah, we're
mean,
getting mixed reviews on that one.
yeah.
Yes, I would think so.
We've all been there.
Totally.
to say.
Oh, exactly.
Yes.
I mean, we
When
all
we
like,
wanted to chat
we all
about
like
that.
fiddleheads and we,
Oh, yes,
But-
yes.
I'm just saying,
And
you will say,
One second, I'll let.
Right.
not
Yes, sir.
far.
Right.
Because
Okay.
people have looked at it and they sunk up to here,
oh
so
my gosh, yes.
even if you were to build, I'm just suggesting, I would kind of.
So that's what we're doing. I'm a
Right.
builder and designer, so we're doing a stilted
There you go.
stilted design.
To make
Uh,
ensure that, yes.
Yeah,
And so
no
we got the idea from,
foundation.
like houses down in Katrina
Yeah.
that experienced that, and that's what they.
Yeah,
So
so worst comes to worst, we'll be okay.
Judy Hazen again, do you, I haven't seen where you expect to put the house. And I don't know what the variance is for. Is it for, you're going to be close to our right of way?
No, not at
We're
all.
going to be-
Because from what I was told, you have about 10% that you could build on, according to what she
So,
had told me.
yeah,
And it would be right within close proximity, right up to our right.
so this is basically your right of way
Mm-hmm,
from Abenaki.
Yes.
And we won't be,
Legally.
we won't be
can't because
messing
of
with
the
that at
setbacks.
all.
There's a 25-foot setback
Right.
for that property line. Legally, we can't do that. The variance that we're looking for is for the front yard setback, because that's a 75-foot.
right.
And if we could decrease that down to a 50, that 25 feet would be a significant benefit in terms of building space. But no, in terms of your side, because of that 25-foot setback, that's already tiny enough. If we
Yeah.
cut into that, that's, I
No,
wouldn't
we-
ask to do that.
Yeah, no,
It's
we
not gonna
can't,
happen.
but your land, we have the setbacks to deal with.
Yeah.
I would love
Diana?
to, your plan.
I'd like to ask
We
a
have it,
point
so
of
brought
order,
it, so yeah,
please.
It's part of the, it's part of the packet. That was
Just a second,
posted.
Oh, okay.
Just a second, the gentleman has had his hand up for quite a while here. Hold on, Chip. Yes, sir. Can you just state your name and?
Lauren Hazen, running property owner.
Yes.
Right away. And, when we had the flood back in, what was it? Early 20s. We,
He wasn't here.
yeah, I was here. You drive by there, the water was 50 feet from the edge of the road when we had that flood. So, and usually you get a heavy rain, you can't even walk. You step off that road, you're gonna sink down to your ankles. That's just wet all the time, and I don't care what anybody says. I've lived on this property, well, my father bought the original farm in 1936. I have a deed, a land grant from the King of England on a piece of property, so I know what the property is. I hunted down there as a kid, I fished down there as a kid.
You still do, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I fished down there fishing in the spring. So, put a house down there is like the lady we talked to from the state, she said, I take my money and run.
To be fair, that's what most people have said to us.
Diana?
Okay. Yes, Chip.
I come back to my original statement in July, when I reviewed this application. I did an extensive evaluation of whether this lot had ever been subdivided. I concluded that it had not been subdivided. There is only one lot there. And I'd like to know if Danielle was able to find evidence that this is a legally subdivided lot. I don't
This
think it
is the-
is.
This lot is 11-2-26.1. This is a 5-acre lot and I have never seen that it's been subdivided.
It was subdivided when it was the original 13.
Okay.
And right before I bought it,
Just because it has a tax map number does not mean that it was legally subdivided. A tax document is not a zoning document. And I have I have the tax map in front of me, and I see that it's a 5-acre lot or whatever, next to an 8-acre lot, but I'm asking a different question. I'm asking, who can tell me that this lot has been subdivided by the town of North Hero? And if it has not been subdivided, discussing whether you can build a house on it is moot.
Well, currently there are two owners. There's
No.
one on the, yes, there's,
I understand there can be two owners, but that does not mean that it was subdivided.
if I'm not mistaken, I thought Fieldcrest subdivided to Carol Clark because Carol Clark sold the property to Fieldcrest. And part of the deal
I
was she
don't
was.
doubt that she
get-
may have sold it to Fieldcrest, but
Right.
that does not create a subdivision. A subdivision is created when the Board of Adjustment or the Planning Commission or the DRB issues a subdivision, and that's never happened. And so discussing whether you can build a lot on it is not a valid question.
So Chip, what you're saying is we need to do both a Mylar search and a deed search for this particular parcel to
Both of
establish.
those are neither the deed nor Mylars are subdivisions. If you're looking for a Mylar with a planning commission seal on it, that's a subdivision. If you're looking for a decision that says this property has been subdivided, that should be in the memorandum of municipal actions. That's a subdivision. If the listers want to call something 2 lots, they can go right ahead. But it does not create a subdivision.
And Chip, you're thinking it's not legally subdivided because of some historical fact that you know about?
It is
Where are we getting this from?
a legal subdivision. It has not occurred.
How do you know, what's making you think that is the case? What information or historical fact do you have that's making you
Because
think that?
I looked in the files and I could not find anything. And I looked in my files and I couldn't find anything.
Okay.
So it's very important that the DRB knows that tax maps are not subdivisions.
But it talks about.
Compound ownership is not a subdivision.
This is
You
news.
want to buy some land?
Are you two gonna buy the land? Is that-
That's
Yeah, we're under
the intent.
contract right now.
Yeah.
For the land, but we've had all these contingencies
You're
in
under
there.
contract?
Yeah,
Buy it.
yeah.
And
The
I'd
main
feel
contingency
badly if I hadn't raised this question in July.
I haven't done a title search yet.
This is the first time we've
No.
heard this.
Yeah, this is.
This
this is
particular
news to-
application.
Well, I have the letter, but I'm trying to tell you that this has not been subdivided as far as I can tell.
well, there's,
So it's part of a bigger law.
we've got a land surveyor, state of Vermont sign thing here, which basically says it is subdivided, but.
I want to see,
I think what we'd like to do then, hold on, Chip, is potentially, I don't know how we can go much further tonight. I think we're gonna have to recess and.
Before you do that, can I just unmute Carol and see if she has anything to say? Cause
Yep.
I muted her because
Yep.
of the noise.
well, I think that's an important point to just find out before we discuss this further.
Yeah.
I can't. Carol, can you unmute yourself if you have anything you'd like to say?
She does, she has to take the oath.
Yeah. Carol, can you hear us?
It's unfortunate.
I know.
If you read on there, it does mention subdivision on.
Yeah.
It does, yeah.
I think we may have to get a.
There's some, at least some starting points here in terms of tracking things down. Because it says things like to be conveyed to.
Okay.
On this, and. That was back on volume 72. So
Right.
I think it's something that definitely needs to be followed up to make sure that everything was done appropriately.
Definitely. Sounds
No.
like it.
Yeah, there's some interesting things on the wastewater permit about. Because, you know, homeowners associations be able to deal with water and.
Right.
When was it?
Right. Back when, Fieldcrest was going for, I think, 4 or 5 subdivisions of that land. And I think he was going with this whole townhouse or, you know, something that doesn't fit here. And then I think there was some pushback and he just said, forget it. So I ended up buying it. But originally, I was supposed to be getting 13 acres. And I got to the table and I got 8.
So I think, can you make sure that Danielle has a
Yes.
copy of this?
Actually, that's in my file.
Oh, in your file. Okay, I can pull it from your file.
Okay.
I was gonna say, there's a lot of, my files like this thick.
Yeah.
So let's
So,
have a motion to recess then and try to get this figured out.
Go ahead.
I make a motion that we recess this until the next meeting on
October 9th.
Well, I'll
October
be.
9th.
A little town meeting.
Is that going to cause any hardship for you guys?
I think it should be okay.
You
I
can
mean,
zoom in if you're not. in-
We're like
yeah.
an hour away, it's not a big deal.
But
We're-
you-
we're
you can
happy to
also
come
Zoom.
here and- Yeah, I mean,
Both local
maybe
provided.
maybe we'll zoom next time, but. No, we can amend the contract to get it pushed out a little further, so.
It would, one question I would have, just because there's been a lot of discussion. Particularly you brought it to our attention in terms of the wastewater piece. Just again, we're working with a septic designer. We've gone with 2 septic, yeah, wastewater designers at this point, that one did the delineation, then we verified with Elijah. Now we've gone with a septic designer who's now working on the design. So to my knowledge, because we've never done this before, I assume we've done this all in the right order. But you're bringing up this thing about the wastewater and I'm going, wait a minute, have we missed something? And so I'm assuming that he submits the design through to the state, then as it seeks permitting, then it goes through wastewater. Is that accurate?
The waste, I think the question that was, that had come up was something about, soil samples and things of that nature.
Which is exactly what you did.
But the wastewater people are the one that, in terms of what septic design is allowed.
Right, okay.
It's based on what the land will take and how the
Okay.
system has to be designed.
Determine.
Exactly.
Right, and that's
okay.
what our current wastewater designer did Well,
But-
couple weekends.
But let's recess for now, and then that's another something that has to be figured out.
Yeah.
You
Okay,
can-
well, and I was gonna say that I
That's-
think
that makes
he explained it to us that he submits it to the state site and then it spits out what can then be put in. And I don't think he's done that yet.
And
So that would be why you guys. have to
That's
see
gonna
it.
define the size,
Okay.
that's gonna define the size of that wastewater.
Exactly,
system.
exactly.
Then defines how much room you have for the house.
Exactly.
Hence
So
the
you need that
variance
before you can do anything
application.
No, exactly. So no, but it sounds like we were
Diana?
aware of it. It just, again, hasn't happened just
Before
yet.
you do any of that, find out if you can actually own the property.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, that's the first.
I said I may have a piece of property.
Exactly, right?
So Charlie has moved to recess. We need a second.
Chick is asking you.
Diana,
Hold on a second. So we have a second and any
Who
comments?
seconded?
Yes, Christine.
So.
Yes,
you know,
Chuck.
Diana,
We're
just
trying
before
to
you go,
recess here.
before you
Yeah.
cut this off, please. There are several documents that were not mentioned tonight that address some issues that go into this property and its buildability, that as well as reviewing the criteria for a variance that the applicant should look at.
Are you talking about?
6.3?
No, I'm talking about a variance. Well, that may be 6.3, but I'm talking
think-
about wetlands and wetlands documents in the file.
Okay. So back to so what I want to be clear on is what actions need to be taken between now and the next meeting.
Right, me too.
What do we?
So I think what we're talking about is they need to figure out if, in fact, that is a legal lot that they can purchase. And then they have to figure out follow up with the wastewater people.
Is that their responsibility to figure out if it's a legal lot? I mean, we're the town.
No. Yeah, but we're not trying to do anything. I think, Ms. Clark needs to
Right, but how
figure
do
that
they-
one out. She's the owner.
Right.
Your attorney.
Yeah.
And it affects you. So maybe you and
Right.
that club.
Maybe we
But
could
we'll-
exchange information.
And then somehow get it to.
To my file.
You're right. That's fair. You're like, I've done all the legwork. I don't want to read it all. Exactly.
So can we have a vote on the motion to recess?
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so at 8:09, we recessed until October 9th. So if you guys want to work together, work with Danielle and
Great.
try to figure this out.
Well, that sounds
Great.
good. Thank you very much.
Well, it's good to figure it out
Appreciate
now.
it. Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's all by the book, but as we keep going through it, we're like, there's another step and another
Very
step.
complicated, yeah.
Complicated.
It's a very complicated piece of land, so.
The next hearing at 6:30.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be the same.
Perfect.
And we'll talk between now and then, but you'll get another warning, like another notice in the mail
Perfect.
and all that.
And there's a
Perfect.
number where if you want to zoom in, you can call in.
Which we
I
might.
appreciate that.
Okay,
All right.
All right,
you,
thank you.
everybody.
Thank you all.
I was gonna say, we may sit through and
Yeah, I can show you
chat with
all
you
the
guys.
relevant stuff that's in the office.
Cool.
It should be in there. That should be in there.
Yeah, that's where you found that, I believe, when we
Yeah.
talked, right?
Yes.
As soon as we get
Okay.
you guys are just sharing the room.
So we're going to,
Picture of the writing on that.
Yes.
if
I
you
would do
mind,
that.
can you guys just chat over there?
Oh,
We're gonna keep
yeah,
going
yeah,
here.
100%.
Sorry.
Yep. No,
Vote on the business on the board approval of the minutes, July 10th, 2025. Any comments or motions to approve?
I read them, but can you give me one second?
Sure.
Pull them up again.
Oh, there's copies on the table right there.
Okay, but I read them when I saw them in that.
I think, Kelsey, your comment about making sure that, the sketch plan was identified as being heard.
Yes.
It's important, and it's in there. I don't know if you want to make it more prominent.
Looking for hearing number 34, it was a sketch plan review and a preliminary
It
plan
says it,
review.
it says it, it says
Right.
it.
And that's sufficient, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can move to accept the minutes.
Is there a second?
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, minutes accept, oh, one abstain. Lisa abstains. ZA report.
All right, I'm gonna, since we didn't meet in August, I'll just give you a brief recap of July and August, kind of all combined. For those 2 months, I've had 6 certificate of compliance site visits and issuances. I've had issued 3 pool applications, 2 above ground and 1 in ground. 2 sheds, 1 ADU project, a couple, 2 shore stabilization permits, and 1 porch, 1 enclosed addition. And I do currently have 3 zoning complaints that are active right now, so I'll speak to those when they come on to the MMA, once they're cleared up.
Okay.
Is he?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
go ahead. Good.
About the investigations?
Yeah, you're on the,
I just want to know how those how that works. I don't, how that.
oh, no, that's irrelevant here. I'm gonna let you can talk directly sorry, we just need to keep moving with the DRB. That's separate from DRB business, so. Delcy, anything to do with procedures or?
I'm going to recess that for tonight.
Okay. Andy has a report for
Andy.
Planning Commission. Do you want to move up, Andy?
Sure.
Did you jump the dog?
Oh. Yeah. So I guess you want an update as to where the zoning regulation changes are right now?
Yes.
Does anybody kind of need a recap of all the changes were proposed? I assume people have seen that. I'm happy to kind of go through the list real quickly. It's up to you folks.
People pretty comfortable with it, or do you want to go over it?
Okay.
Okay.
So where it stands, the Planning Commission had their final hearing, turned it over to the select board on August 4th, which gave them 120 days to have the first of at least one hearing. They've tentatively scheduled the hearing for October 20th, 7 o'clock. And so that's kind of the status overall. Just to go through the couple of items that have generated the most discussion so far. One is a change that the Planning Commission proposed, and another was something we didn't do. What we proposed was some changes to the sign regulations.
Go ahead, if you want to ask.
I'm sorry, you guys are gonna have to think about it.
Yep. I don't know. You down there, there's a long area down.
Thank you guys very much.
See everybody next month.
Thank you, Christie.
Anyway, the proposed changes to the sign regulations have generated some discussions. I wouldn't be surprised that the select board may do some further tweaking there. And then the item that's generated the most discussion is what we didn't do, which was to change the shoreland setback. And unfortunately, I wish I had thought of this while it was still in the Planning Commission, but it hit me afterwards that there's a pretty logical solution to this problem. Right now, our regulations, when you talk about setback to the lake, says regulated under the Vermont Shorelands Protection Act. You know, a lot of discussion that for years and years, we had a 75-foot setback. I know the DRB has asked for something more definite. And so I presented this to the, as Andy Alling, private citizen, I presented this to the select board. I think the right answer is to leave that language in there and then just put comma 75-foot minimum. I think that takes care of all the concerns. So I've proposed that to the select board a couple of times now. And I just like to have you folks think about it, and as individuals, if you think that's a good idea, you can maybe mention that to the select board as well, so.
Is there any potential conflict in that proposed solution?
I mean, there were conflicts during our hearing, you know,
No, I meant the language, if we were to follow that.
I don't think so. I think
To us on that?
we're doing the one thing that personally, since day one on the planning commission, I knew we had to do a better job of coordinating our regulations with the State Shoreline Protection Act. And that's
Well,
how that,
That's the reason why, that's the exact reason,
Yeah.
we knew you were doing that, and that's the exact reason, and I spoke with your.
Yeah.
That the question before the DRB, when you asked us to take this up, was A, should we do it? And if so, B, what should the number be? Because we wanted definition, as you said.
Yeah.
And, we talked about it, and, it was easy. I think Diana was like, okay, if we do it, well, it was always 75 feet, so we should do
Yeah.
75 feet. And then someone, maybe me, said, well, the state has 100 feet. So maybe.
with
for the-
exceptions.
For the, you know, from the
Yeah.
consumer's point of view, the applicant's point of view, maybe 100 makes more sense because it's more synonymous with the state. And so we voted and recommended to you yes, keep it, and B, make it 100.
Okay, yeah,
And
that's
so-
true, yeah. Yeah.
And really, I mean, I kind of felt like that was respecting the planning commission's, if you will, hammering over the past 2 years
Yeah.
of synchronicity
Well.
thank you, with the state. We, you know.
And I understand, and I appreciate that, but the regulations are what they are now. They've been approved by the select board, and there's still been discussion about the setback, so I made this proposal on my own. I think it makes a lot of sense. It recognizes the fact that for 50 years, we had a 75-foot setback. It's also important to me that we directly tie our regulations into the State Shoreline Protection Act. That was the reason for that language to begin with. So I think by leaving the tie to the Shoreline Protection Act, comma 75-foot minimum, to me, it takes care of all the concerns. But that's me. The regulations are what they are now. The select board may or may not do anything about it. I'm just saying, as a person, I recommended that to the select board. You know, you folks can think about it and make your own personal recommendations, or, you know, it can come back to the planning commission at some point too. I would love to have brought it back to the planning commission, but once we turned it over to the select board, I didn't feel we could take any action without starting the whole process over. So that's where we're at.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
But one of the changes that I don't think has gotten a lot of, a lot of attention is this idea of how you regulate converting from camps to year-round.
Okay.
And I
That's a
have,
different subject, but yeah.
it is totally, sorry. I'm
Yeah,
changing.
that's okay. And we've addressed that.
But, well, you've made something in your bylaw recommendations,
Yep.
but I can't find common definitions of that process. How do you define a conversion from to a year-round camp? How do you define that? I haven't found that in like state law. Listers have, they
Yeah.
use this kind of, vague, sense of, is it called a camp or not?
Right.
And so there's not good legal definition.
Possible.
So it concerns me that there's gonna end up being this, a lot of, you know, a lot of room for interpretation. Which is. what-
Well, that's possible.
Boy.
I'll just tell you that the main rationale we had in doing that, there used to be regulations for conversion to, from summer to year round. When the state took over the wastewater back in 06 or 07, the town no longer included that in the regulations. So that's the main reason we wanted to put it back in is, it kind of gives, like if Danielle gets a, application, it allows us to check, did this, owner get the proper wastewater certification from the state? So that's the main reason we put it back in.
Is for.
Wastewater. Yeah, it just gives us something to verify that the,
And
wastewater system has been
So I mean,
considered.
but what's to keep somebody from saying, oh, no, it's just a camp?
The state actually has some pretty stringent regulations regarding that.
I haven't.
They did well, but, and I will say there's some loopholes in there too. depending on-
I'm just.
It was a difficult subject. And like I said, our main consideration was the wastewater.
What about water supply?
Huh?
What about water supply?
That's handled through the water department. I mean, it's
Yes or no?
if there's a difference in the billing rate, whether it's seasonal or year round.
I know, but there's also a difference in how deep the water pipes are.
Of course, yeah.
Uh-huh. But did they actually do that, or did they just come in all?
Well,
You mean the town water pipes to the house that?
Yes.
if the town, well, but the town has specifications.
That specification. as to- Yeah,
Even though it's a private line, it has to be so deep and it has to be made out of certain materials.
Specify.
Yeah. I'd say the water supply is not an issue one way or another.
Sorry, I've just been working with somebody.
Yeah.
That water supply.
You having
So,
issues?
I mean, there's just, individual parts.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
anyway.
Okay, well,
okay.
thank you, Andy.
Thank you for your time.
For your
Appreciate
report.
it, Dave.
See ya.
Thanks for.
Yeah, have a good night.
sitting through the whole night.
Long night, folks, but pretty typical.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You want, you're out
Okay.
with the planning commission.
There you go.
Yeah. And we have those damn applications.
okay, Carolyn Shields.
Oh,
This is going to be now. I'm gonna ask that the board not speak because there are great limitations from the board. I spoke to our lawyer and there's some deep concerns here. So let me speak at least first here, if you don't mind. So this is for the public record, so I'm gonna explain things to the public as the letter is in the package. We received this email on August 28th requesting postponement of the decision, which had to do with application 2025-40 DRB. The hearing was on July 10th, 2025. The decision was issued, had already been issued. It was issued on July 29th, 2025. The letter from Carolyn Shields and Steve Thomas was on questioning that proper public notice was not met. I will address several things here on notification. The hearing is done. Okay. We no longer, DRB has no control over that anymore. We cannot speak.
have the
opportunity
to say anything?
Not about the hearing, no. Not about the hearing, because the reason, and I'll explain why
Okay.
in a minute. So notification, answering your questions, and concerns. One, putting the notice on the public right of way. You are correct that was not posted on the correct, and that spot. The mailing regulations, it is not, we do not need to send them out certified mail. It only says in our regulations, written notification, which was done. It was mailed to the address which the town has on file for you, which is where you get tax information, all the other, so that was mailed there, so, notification, what, we met the requirements of posting on 3 public places and in the paper. The other thing, just as an aside, I will say is that the neighbor on the other side was aware of it, because it said, which has nothing to do with, what we are responsible to as far as notification, but having not talked to them, it's nothing we can control. But the neighbor on the other side was aware because they called and spoke to our DRB clerk about it. So I want to read something to you and to put on the record that is Vermont statute title 244464A5. And it says, quote, no defect in the form or substance of any requirements in subdivision 1 or 2 of this subsection, and that has to do with notifications, shall invalidate the action of the appropriate municipal panel where reasonable efforts are made to provide adequate posting and notice. So it's my opinion and our lawyer's opinion that it's reasonable efforts have definitely made. But moving on. However, the action shall be invalid when the defective posting or notice was materially misleading in content, which it was not materially misleading. If, and this is why we cannot speak about it.
Well,
This is, wait, hold on, no, please,
I will say that.
hold on.
I want that in the
Hold
public
on,
record.
if an action is ruled to be invalid by the environmental division or by the applicable municipal panel itself, the action shall be remanded to the applicable municipal panel to provide new posting and notice, hold a new hearing, and take a new action. Now, you were not an interested party, obviously, because you weren't aware of it, so therefore, that's one of the ways you can appeal to the environmental court. However, our lawyer has informed me that there is an appeal to the environmental court having to do with procedural defects. And that you can speak to a lawyer about an appeal. I'm not, there are timeframes limited. I know nothing about timeframes. That's for you and your lawyer to be considered. So I just wanted to address it. And the other thing is, if the other option that you have for recourse is if the applicant is doing something that goes against the decision or against any conditions put in the condition, then you can go to the ZA. Right. And appeal to the ZA. So those are the 2 options you have. Nothing that has to do with the DRB at this point. Okay. Because we cannot jeopardize the fact that potentially it could come back to us. So I'm going to request that you not mention anything that has to do with the hearing.
Absolutely, I will not. One of the facts that you just stated was that the decision was made on July 29th. You signed this on August the 2nd, and it was posted publicly on August the 29th. So for 3 weeks, it had been signed and it was not posted to your website. So you cannot say that this decision was publicly available until the 29th of August. And that invalidates what you've just said.
Well, if it was,
and that also puts me in a bind in appealing this to the state, because if you're claiming that this was issued on the 29th, you signed it on the 2nd, and it wasn't publicly posted until the 29th, then you've run through my appeal period.
No, I think if it wasn't posted, that's up to the environmental judge. I would think he would look at when it was posted, and that would give you time.
You could have stayed this before it was, because it was not posted when I wrote my email to you.
Well, I was not, I'm just saying that.
Well, I'm just saying
at this
that your
point,
facts are not
that's
correct.
part of what you go to the environmental court.
Okay, well,
for.
I think it's your
That's part of
responsibility
your.
to make sure that these procedures are done in a manner that is fair to everyone. And this was a defective hearing, clearly. The P sign was never put up. I mean, how can you say it was a valid hearing when you never put up the P sign? Nobody in our neighborhood saw it or knew that this was happening.
As I said, these are things that you go to the environmental court.
Okay, so I now, because you messed up, I now have to go pay a fee, hire a lawyer and appeal this when you all did not follow your process. Are you ready for us to interject, Diana, or would you like us to not do that?
I mean, you can as long as we do not discuss the case itself.
Oh, I'm not going to discuss the case, so. In my research, and I am not an attorney. I understand that, courts have held, I mean, although there's a 30-day appeal period. Yes. Vermont courts have held that if a party never receives notice, equitable tolling may extend or suspend the appeal window. So you may have time to file an appeal. Well, I think I have 2 weeks if they recognize that this was not posted on your website until the 29th. But what was just stated here is that it was effective of the 29th or the 27th, which is the date on this letter. It wasn't even signed until the 2nd, and then it was not publicly available until the 29th. Yeah, and what I appreciate is that we received email notification of your concerns on, I believe it was August 2nd, was it? I've sent many emails on this and they were simply ignored. And just to be clear, those weren't distributed to the entire board. So I think the board has got a procedural problem here, and that you all as a board need to take responsibility for this. You know, I mean, it is.
I'm gonna say this,
Yeah.
we understand what you're saying, but nothing can be resolved here about that, and I'm sure that the board will take this up amongst themselves to address the issues
Yes.
that you might have brought up, but nothing can be done.
Okay, well,
You-
I'm telling you, your process, I think you can remand this, you can rehear it, and you can have a new hearing. Exactly, we have the. Yes. We have the option of rehearing. Absolutely. And which is what we would do if the environmental court ruled in your favor. Right. Anyway, they would remand it to us to rehear, so. Personally, that would.
I think at this point, if we're going to discuss that, let's discuss that in deliberations.
Do we?
This
discuss it?
isn't a decision. We're not.
Yeah,
We're making a decision on whether to rehear a case.
Is that?
Oh, is this a motion?
That's, I'm not making that decision. I disagree totally with that.
I'd make the motion.
But you cannot make.
I know I can't, but this
But
is
I
not
think-
responsible.
I think at this point, I think we've laid out, I spoke to our attorney. There's
I don't care if you spoke
options.
to your attorney. The facts that you had in your notes were incorrect. And you absolutely can remand this and you can renotice it and you can rehear it. And that is what you should do.
We appreciate your comments.
I would like to make a motion.
No, I would like to go into.
Well,
Is this executive session, deliberative session? What is the appropriate way to discuss this?
Well,
Or is there a public
it goes, I think it goes way beyond just making a motion to, I think there's a lot that goes into.
No, I know. but
looking
how do
into
we
this.
Procedurally have the conversation in executive session because it's attorney-client privilege too, or is it, which I would think it is, I think it falls under
Yeah.
executive session, not deliberative, Diana, because.
Okay,
the
we can do
attorney
an
is being
executive session then.
session.
And we can have the attorney on in-house or on Zoom.
Well, you can brief us, yeah.
Or I could, yeah,
fine, but I just didn't want you continuing to say we would
okay.
discuss it in deliberative if everyone agrees.
I think if that's the concern, it would be an executive session.
And we,
And what does that mean?
not a public discussion.
Right, okay. And so when will that happen and when will I know what the status is? Because I've got to go file an appeal to the Vermont courts now because of this, which this has taken up so much of my time. It is unbelievable.
I do believe that we need to have the attorney present when we go and have executive session. Given that, we've had discussions and advice from the attorney now. So I think that we need to schedule that.
Can we do this on an expedited fashion?
We can discuss that. Yeah, we can try to find out. I mean, certainly by next week, I would think. We wanted to try to do something tomorrow. I don't know if he's available. But I think next week I think next week we could definitely do something. We can try to figure out a date.
Do you know procedurally, can we just decide ourselves to rehear a case because we feel there may be new evidence?
There's not new evidence.
Yeah, excuse me, really, I'm sorry, but you know,
There's not
when
new
we're.
This is a
talking-
conversation among the board,
Okay.
please.
Yeah, it's really hard. Do you know the answer, whether we can decide to hear a case because there may be new
If
evidence?
there is new evidence,
Or does it have to go to the environmental court and be remanded back to us first?
no, we can do that.
We can do the former first?
If there's new evidence,
There's,
but that's different than this.
that's different than procedural concerns.
Yes,
So
this is strictly
According-
procedural.
yeah, I can tell you what the attorney said to me, but if you would like to have him on hand for procedure, you go to the executive, the environmental court.
Well, I'll just say I disagree that we have an option for procedural to remedy procedural issues. And you know, maybe the attorney disagrees.
Okay, well, I will try to set something up next week for executive session. Is that okay with the rest of the board? Yeah, people around next week?
Generally.
I'll have to see.
Yeah, they're zooming in, is fine, yeah. Okay, Chip,
Yep,
okay. Okay, so we will do that then.
So I'll hear back from you next week.
You will hear back as soon as the decision is made.
Can you give me a status on that so I know whether I should appeal to the Vermont?
You should, know when you're meeting with the attorney, sure.
Okay.
That's okay, Danielle, you can let her know.
Sure. Okay. Okay.
I'll send you a note, maybe we could send you notes or something. I have two really hard things next week that I cannot miss, midday. So,
What day of the week?
Monday and Tuesday. I mean, I could do it Monday morning. I don't want to get into
Yep.
scheduling now, but I just wanna.
I'll just say I can't miss Tuesday. I didn't put on the example.
Yeah, so I,
People tentatively Wednesday? I can try
Wednesday's
to,
wide open for me.
I have to check my digital brain,
You need to check what,
my
Scott?
digital brain.
Yeah.
I don't think I have anything on Wednesday.
I mean, I could do Monday morning or Monday afternoon.
Is that something I need to be there for, or should I not be there?
You probably should be there. Is Wednesday work for you?
I'm in the office until noon,
Oh, that's right.
so I would have to step away if someone came in, if you were gonna do it before noon, but I'm all free the whole rest of the afternoon.
Let me tentatively reach out.
Danielle, was the sign posted anyway?
I'm seriously doubting myself now, but I'm out a stake. I provide my own stakes and I'm missing a stake, so I've
She thinks she put it by.
I put it by their front
Put it
yard though, that's the
instead of-
problem. I didn't put it at the right of way. I put it on their property.
So the next door neighbor couldn't have possibly seen it.
Well, I don't know, but I did hear from the other side neighbor ahead of the hearing. I don't know.
Um,
Um.
It's Wednesdays.
I'm going to forward you. Right now, I'm gonna forward you, if I have it on this.
We cannot do Monday morning, the Monday afternoon, I mean. Monday
Do we need
morning
to
is
make a big
okay.
spreadsheet?
This is like my least favorite thing to do.
I'm okay Wednesday till 4 o'clock.
I am
You're not-
forwarding, right now. Detailed responses of what Mike sent back to me after I spoke to him. On the phone.
Why do you provide your own states?
Well, the boards that were given to me were really old and they were falling apart and I couldn't fasten them to anything, so I just went to the hardware store and got some stakes and I just zip tie the signs to them and I pound the stakes in. And then I go back and collect them afterward.
I think
We are
that's
still
been
recording.
a reimbursed.
Huh?
We are still recording.
Okay, can we, we don't need a deliberative session. Can we have a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Charlie moved,
A second.
Delcy seconded, all in favor? So we are adjourning at 8:42.
Oh, it is in here sometimes. Sort of lumbering